Miami Dolphins fantasy advice. Don't you dare sleep on Tyreek Hill in openers. Miami Gardens. Miami Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill has this thing for fast starts. And that's not a reference to his driving habits on 199th Street adjacent to Hard Rock Stadium. Hill famously was pulled over for speeding en route to last season's opener and detained by police. It was an incident capable of throwing some players off their game. But when Hill followed that day by making 7 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown, maybe it shouldn't have been a surprise. If you have Hill on your fantasy team, of course you'd activate him for the opener in Indianapolis regardless. If you don't have Hill, here's why you should worry. Several of the best performances of Hill's career have come in Week 1. They include 11 catches for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Dolphins versus the Los Angeles Chargers in 2023, the NFL record for receiving yards in an opener. Third on that all-time list? Tyreek Hill, with 11 catches for 197 yards and a TD for the Kansas City Chiefs versus Cleveland in 2021. Okay, but Hill owning 2 of the 3 best starts out of the gate isn't an outlier. He also put up 133 yards in 2017 and 169 in 2018. He has scored 9 touchdowns in the past 9 openers. So something fresh legs is happening on opening days. I guess I'm just a lucky one, to be on the other side of making those plays, Hill said. Smith. Ultimately with Tyreek, he's such a guy that is competitive and he has that excitement level for the season to start and be able to provide elite play for his teammates. I don't necessarily know if you could say it's one specific thing. Final thought. Hill is limited in practice with oblique and calf injuries, but said he feels amazing. Choose. RB Devon Chain. The Dolphins have been easing him back from a calf injury. Guess is he'll see 50%, probably 75 tops, of his normal duty. RB Ollie Gordon 2. Rookie who excelled in training camp could benefit from any time a chain gets a breather. Also, with his power running style, the Dolphins can be expected to lean on him in goal line situations. Food for thought on Miami defense. Miami's defense. The Colts actually ranked higher than Miami last year in total offense, 13th to 18th, and scoring offense, 22.2 points per game to 20.3. QB Daniel Jones doesn't move the needle, but RB Jonathan Taylor, 1,431 yards in 2024, will test Miami's defense, which ranked 9th against the run last year and boasts a strong front 7. A good battle there, kicker Riley Patterson. He has made only 4 kicks from 50-plus yards in his career, but was 13 of 13 from all distances in the tryout the Dolphins held when Jason Sanders went down. Don't do it. Just don't on using Darren Waller. Darren Waller. He has a hip injury. He has barely been seen all preseason. Will he even be seen versus the Colts? If fantasy football had a crown jewel, it would sparkle in aqua and orange and sprint like lightning across the gridiron. His name? Tyreek Hill. The cheetah doesn't just run past defenders. He outruns logic, expectations, and sometimes even physics. And when it comes to season openers, one rule should be tattooed in bold across every fantasy owner's playbook. Don't you dare sleep on Tyreek Hill. The cheetah effect. Draft night always brings a storm of debates. Do you take the steady running back who promises 20 touches a game, or the wide receiver who can tilt the field in a single snap? Hill isn't just an answer to that debate, he's the mic drop. Tyreek's fantasy value in openers is like starting your season with fireworks before the main event. Year after year, he makes Week 1 feel like Christmas morning. Whether it's a 70-yard bomb or a quick slant that somehow turns into a blur of legs and confetti, Hill has a history of starting fast. Why? Because defenses, even after months of prep, simply aren't ready. You can plan, you can double cover, you can even pray, but Hill finds daylight. And in fantasy football, daylight equals points. The numbers don't lie. Look at the history. In his career, Hill's Week 1 performances have often resembled video game cheat codes. He has seasons where he opened with well over 100 yards and multiple touchdowns. That's not just good. That's the kind of start that makes your league mates groan and mutter. Of course he drafted Hill. Fantasy managers often talk about players easing into the season. Tyreek doesn't ease. He ignites. He's the Ferrari parked next to pickup trucks. And let's not forget, he's paired with Tua Tagovailoa, a quarterback who thrives on timing, accuracy, and trust. Tua knows exactly where Hill will be and when, usually about 3 steps past the cornerback who thought he had an angle. Psychological warfare in fantasy. Drafting Hill and starting him in week 1 isn't just about points, it's about intimidation. Imagine putting up 30 points with one player before your opponent's roster even hits the field. That's psychological warfare. Fantasy football is half math, half mind games. When your opponent sees Hill exploding down the sideline, they don't just see real yardage. They see their fantasy hopes evaporating before halftime. They start tinkering with their lineup, overthinking future trades, maybe even questioning why they didn't reach for Hill in the first round. That's the power of starting Tyreek in openers. You set the tone, you claim the high ground, and suddenly you're not just managing a team, you're dictating the season's first narrative. The Dolphins' evolution. The Miami Dolphins aren't the rebuilding project they once were. They're sleek, dangerous, and perfectly designed for a superstar like Hill. Head coach Mike McDaniel loves creativity, motion, and stretching defenses until they snap. That system is built to unleash Tyreek from every angle: slot, wideout, even backfield motions. When week 1 rolls around, teams haven't had enough live reps to keep up with Miami's speed. Hill thrives on that early chaos. Defenders are still calibrating, still adjusting to game speed, and Tyreek is already 2 touchdowns deep. The what-if question. Skeptics will always ask, what if defenses finally figure him out? That's the beauty of Hill. Figuring him out doesn't matter. You can't coach speed, and you can't erase chemistry. Even on days when defenses contain him, Hill needs just one play. One flick of Tua's wrist, one moment of space, to turn an ordinary fantasy outing into a monster stat line. That's what makes him so valuable in openers. Even if you're down going into Monday Night Football, Hill has the ability to swing matchups in a single quarter. A fantasy owner's dream scenario. Picture it. You're in your league's opener. You've spent weeks researching, mock drafting, sweating over waiver wire sleepers. The games kick off, and suddenly there he is, Tyreek streaking down the field, the ball spiraling toward him. Touchdown. Your phone vibrates. Plus 12 points. Before you can process it, he's in the end zone again. Plus 10 more. Your opponent checks the app, sighs, and mutters something about lucky plays. But you know better. It's not luck, it's the law of Tyreek Hill in week 1. By the time the dust settles, you've got a win in hand and the rest of the league whispering about how unfair your roster looks. And all you did was trust the cheetah.